Effective immediately, you're terminated from Hartley Industries. Security will escort you out within the hour, my father announced, sliding a single sheet of paper across the mahogany conference table I'd personally selected 5 years ago when I transformed our struggling family hardware store into a multi-million-dollar construction supply empire. The same siblings who couldn't spell inventory management when I started, Mark, Jessica, and David, sat around him like vultures, wearing suits I knew they charged to company cards I'd approved, trying to look professional while celebrating my execution. Did they really think our biggest clients worked with Hartley Industries because of our last name, or had they forgotten that every major contract had my cell phone number as the primary contact? Terminated. I repeated the word slowly, letting it roll around my mouth like spoiled wine. From the company I built from nothing. You didn't build anything, Mark interjected, his voice dripping with 5 years of suppressed resentment. This was Dad's business. We're just returning it to family leadership where it belongs. Family leadership, the same family that had begged me to come home from New York, where I was making 6 figures at a Fortune 500 company, because Dad's hardware store was 3 months from bankruptcy. I see, I said, maintaining the same calm tone that had secured the Morrison Group contract, the Westfield development deal, and dozens of others. And the board, all 4 of you voted? Unanimously, Jessica smiled, her fresh MBA from an online university apparently qualifying her to run a company she never worked a full day in. We need someone with more professional credentials, someone who represents the Hartley name appropriately. Someone who isn't too aggressive with clients, David added, speaking up for the first time. Your methods make people uncomfortable, Sophie. All those late-night calls, the weekend meetings, the constant pushing for innovation, it's not how business is done. My methods, like arriving at 5 a.m. to personally inspect shipments, like flying to China to negotiate directly with manufacturers, like spending 18-hour days building relationships with contractors who now exclusively bought from us. Of course, I nodded, already mentally calculating which clients would follow me. I understand completely. Shall I gather my things? Security will pack your office, Dad said, not meeting my eyes. We think it's best if you leave immediately. Less disruptive for the staff I'd hired, the systems I'd implemented, the culture I'd created. Very well. I stood, placing my company phone and key card on the table. I assume you've already changed the passwords. This morning, Mark confirmed eagerly. Jessica will be taking over all your client accounts. She's already prepared transition emails. I almost laughed. Jessica, who once asked me if we could just Google our supplier information instead of maintaining a database. Jessica, who thought networking meant posting motivational quotes on LinkedIn. Excellent planning. I picked up my personal phone from the table. I wish you all the best. That's it? David looked suspicious. No fighting? No threats? Why would I threaten my own family? I moved toward the door, pausing to straighten the framed photo of our first $1 million sales month, a milestone they'd been too busy to celebrate with me. Though you might want to review the Morrison Group contract before Jessica sends that transition email. Gerald Morrison is particular about changes. We've reviewed everything, Dad finally spoke, his voice attempting authority. Jessica has an MBA. She understands contracts better than. My phone buzzed. Gerald Morrison's name flashed on the screen. I held up a finger, answering on speaker. Sophie, perfect timing. I'm about to sign the contract for Phase 3 of the Riverside development. Where should I send it? Emails bouncing back, something wrong with your system. I watched the color drain from Mark's face. Phase 3 was worth $2.3 million. Gerald, I need to inform you that I'm no longer with Hartley Industries as of this morning. You'll be working with Jessica Hartley moving forward. Silence. Then, I'm sorry, what? Jessica who? My sister. She has an MBA. Gerald's laugh was sharp. Sophie, I don't work with Hartley Industries. I work with you. Where are you going? I'll send the contracts there. I haven't quite figured that out yet, I admitted, enjoying the panic spreading across the conference table. I was just terminated 5 minutes ago. Terminated? Are they insane? Gerald's voice rose. Do they know how many suppliers I've recommended you to? Do they have any idea? Hold on. I heard muffled conversation in the background. Sophie, I'm putting you on speaker. Bill and Patricia are here from Coastal Construction. Sophie. Patricia's voice came through clear. We heard you're leaving Hartley. Please tell us where you're going. We've got that Miami project starting next month. My father stood abruptly. This is highly inappropriate. Sophie, end the call. I smiled. I'm afraid I can't do that. I'm no longer a Hartley Industries employee, remember? I don't take orders from you anymore. Sophie, Bill's voice joined the conversation. If you're going solo, we're ready to sign. That innovative payment system you proposed, the bulk discount structure, we want it all. Mark grabbed Jessica's laptop, frantically pulling up contracts. I knew what he was finding, or rather, what he wasn't finding. The Morrison Group contract, like many others, had a key person clause, a detail Jessica's MBA apparently hadn't covered. This is restraint of trade. Jessica shrieked, abandoning any pretense of professionalism. You can't steal our clients. Your clients? Gerald's voice turned cold. Young lady, whoever you are, let me be crystal clear. I've never spoken to you in my life. Every deal, every negotiation, every problem solved has been through Sophie. If she's gone, so are we. We can sue. Mark threatened, his face purple. Non-compete agreements. That I never signed, I interrupted calmly. Check your files. I was brought in as a family member saving the family business. Dad said contracts between family were insulting. I have that in writing, actually. David was on his phone, probably checking the customer database. His face went white. Dad, Morrison Group is 30% of our revenue. 42%, I corrected. 47 if you include their subsidiaries. Sophie, Gerald's voice cut through. I'm texting you my lawyer's number. He'll have incorporation papers drawn up by end of day. Sophie Hartley Consulting, or whatever you want to call it, will be your first client. Make that second, Patricia added. Coastal's in. Third, another voice chimed in, Tony from Bridgewater Developments. Been listening in. Sorry, Sophie, but news travels fast in this industry. If you're free, we're interested. My phone buzzed with notifications. Text messages, emails, calls coming in from numbers I recognized, clients, suppliers, contractors. Word was already spreading through the network I'd spent 5 years building. This is illegal. Dad slammed his hand on the table. You planned this. No, I said quietly. I plan to spend my career building the family business. I plan to make Hartley Industries a legacy we could all be proud of. What I didn't plan was being ambushed by my own family who decided an MBA from an online university trumped 5 years of proven success. We'll match whatever they're offering, Jessica said desperately. You can stay. We'll create a position for you. A position? I laughed, genuinely amused. In the company I built. Working for my little sister who's never closed a deal in her life. Sophie, please, Dad's voice cracked. Think about what you're doing. This is our family's future. No, I corrected, heading for the door. This was our family's future. You just voted to terminate it. As I reached the door, Mark called out one last time. You'll regret this. When your little consulting firm fails, don't come crawling back. I turned, looking at each of them. My father, who'd chosen ego over expertise. My siblings, who'd chosen entitlement over effort. Mark, I said gently, in the 5 years I've been here, have any of you ever asked me how I grew revenue by 400%? How I secured exclusive distribution rights with premium manufacturers? How I built relationships with every major contractor in the state? Their silence was answer enough. You assumed it was luck, or that clients just naturally came to us because we're the Hartleys. But business isn't about names on doors. It's about showing up, solving problems, and keeping promises. Things none of you have ever done. My phone rang again. This time it was Chen Manufacturing, our primary supplier. Correction, their primary supplier. Sophie. Mr. Chen's accented English was concerned. I received strange email from someone named Jessica. Says she taking over. This is joke. No joke, Mr. Chen. I'm no longer with Hartley Industries. Ah, a pause. Then neither are we. Exclusive distribution agreement was handshake deal with you, not paper contract. You remember? I did remember. A 2-year negotiation concluded over tea in his office, sealed with nothing but mutual respect and trust. I remember, Mr. Chen. Good, you call me when ready. We continue together, yes? Yes. I hung up and looked back at my family one last time. The full scope was hitting them now. Without Morrison Group, without Coastal Construction, without Shin Manufacturing's exclusive products, Hartley Industries would be exactly what it was when I arrived. A struggling hardware store with delusions of grandeur. The files, Dad said weakly. The client contacts, the supplier agreements, are all in the system, I assured him. Every contact, every contract, every detail. Jessica's MBA should help her figure it out. Though you might want to call temps for tomorrow. Sarah in accounting and Jim in shipping both gave notice this morning. Apparently, they heard about my termination before I did. I left then, walking past the security guard who looked confused about why he was supposed to escort me when I was already leaving. In the parking lot, my phone rang constantly. 5 years of relationships, all choosing loyalty over convenience. By the time I reached my car, I had 17 text messages from clients, 4 job offers from competitors, and 3 partnership proposals from investment firms who'd been watching Hartley's growth. But the best message was from Gerald Morrison. Conference room booked for Monday, 9 a.m. Bring your lawyer and your business plan. Let's make this official. I sat in my car, looking back at the building I'd spent 5 years of my life in. The Hartley Industries sign gleamed in the morning sun, the sign I'd paid for with the bonus I'd earned from the Morrison deal. Inside, my family was probably scrambling, trying to figure out how to salvage relationships they'd never bothered to build. Jessica was likely Googling how to talk to construction clients, while Mark called our competitors, hoping to poach their people. Dad would be in his office, staring at financial projections he didn't understand, wondering how everything had gone wrong so quickly. They'd blame me, of course, say I sabotaged them, stole from them, betrayed the family. They'd never admit that they'd handed me the knife and then acted surprised when I cut myself free. My phone rang again, Sarah from accounting. Sophie? I know you're not our boss anymore, but are you hiring? Because half the office is ready to walk if you are. I smiled, starting my car. Give me a week, Sarah. I'll be in touch. As I drove away, I thought about the hardware store Dad had run for 30 years. A decent business, serving the local community, making enough to get by. There was honor in that simplicity. But they'd wanted more. They'd wanted the success I'd built without understanding what it cost. The early mornings, the late nights, the constant networking, the careful relationship building. They'd wanted the reward without the work. Now they had exactly what they'd voted for. A company without the person who made it valuable. They had the name, the building, the inventory. But business isn't built on things. It's built on trust, relationships, and reputation. All of which had just walked out the door in sensible heels and a 5-year-old blazer, carrying nothing but a phone full of contacts who chose loyalty over letterhead. By Monday, Sophie Hartley Consulting would be official. By Tuesday, we'd be operational. By Wednesday, Hartley Industries would realize exactly what they'd lost. But by then, I'd be too busy building something new to notice their calls.